Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. And listen, I wanted to tell you for 2022, my most 10 essential, I mean like most reliable EDC items that I've used this year. Some were acquired this year, some were acquired in past. Over and over, they're always coming through. I seem to use them every single day, and it may not be as predictable as you may think. Check out my 2022 most essential EDC items for the year. I guess that brings me to my very first item. It has to be not the Zippo itself, but the actual pouch that I carry these things in. These are made in America, little Molly Zippo pouches. Picked these things up on Amazon. I actually picked these up in 2020. Did not realize how valuable, how often I would use these things until I started going without them. I connect these things to bags. I connect them inside of bags. I connect them to my belt. They're really small, they're petite, and they don't just fit Zippos. This first one here is made by Vectors, a Zippo competitor, but they fit nice and neat. Now, why would you want to buy these type of things? Maybe you're not a smoker. I could understand that, but even a part of a survival kit, having the ability to make fire is important. Putting one of these on maybe one of your Molly systems inside of your vehicle, clipping this to a belt, putting this on the outside of a bag, something like that could be extremely useful. I also think they're just a really cool gift. If you have someone in your life that carries a Zippo, carries a Thunderbird lighter or something similar, get this item. It's going to be something that's super unique. I really enjoy it. I didn't realize how much I would use it and how naked I feel if I just carry a Zippo without it. Second on my list for by far the most reliable EDC items for 2022 for myself has to be a watch. I can't remember the last time I left the house without wearing a watch. It probably has been literally years. Now, I do have several favorite watches, but I found myself wearing by far the most one of two watches, either the G-Shock, which is by Casio. Any G-Shock watch for the most part is going to gain my attention. Super nice, very rugged, very just, it's nice that they come in multiple colors. They're usually relatively inexpensive and affordable. Or the watch that I'm wearing today, we'll even take this thing off. This is a TicWatch Pro 2020 smartwatch. Use this with my Android phones. It gets the job done as well. The only issue I have about wearing a smartwatch entirely too often is I do kind of get a little bit of a rash or kind of worn out skin when I wear this thing too much. So I will find myself giving myself a break when it comes to a smartwatch and put on the G-Shock, the Vair, Michael Kors, the Citizens Echo, any of my watches. But wearing a watch for me is not just simply being able to tell the time without pulling out my cell phone. I get it. We have cell phones, they tell the time. But quickly taking a look at my wrist lets me know when I've been doing a task for entirely too long, if I've been procrastinating about something, if I need to get off my ass and finish a task sooner. That's why I like wearing a watch. Number 3 on my list, Heroclips. Heroclips, not carabiners in general. Yes, you can get all sorts of carabiners, climbing, Night Eyes makes them, generic ones. But when it comes to just versatility and something that's super cool, Heroclips have been my go-to since early 2021. I bought them in every size that they make, multiple colors. I keep them on keychains. I keep them on mostly bags. I use them to hang water bottles. I use them to clip diaper bags. I use them to do all sorts of stuff. I cannot believe how much I use Heroclips every single day in my life. I love these things. I never knew that I would like them so much. And the thing about them is they're so versatile. They have this little clip system here. So when you detach this, now you can take whatever you have and you can hang it from a surface. So if you want to hang this from a table, if you want to hang this from a stroller, now that bag, that item doesn't have to drape or drag against the ground. That's my favorite part of the Heroclip. And I think overall, I've probably bought nearly a dozen of these things. They're all over the place. I give them away as gifts. This small one here is the micro size. It holds up to 40 pounds. Super small and petite, 40 pounds. And its big brother here is the biggest size that they make. And this one is 60 pounds. So fantastic. Heroclips, something to consider if you don't have it a part of your kit. You oftentimes can overlook very simple things that make your EDC, make your everyday life easier, this is one of them. Next on my list, I have to talk about the two knives that I carried the most this year. So the general topic is having an essential knife. Every time I change a knife, I notate it on a calendar. And lo and behold, these are my two most carried knives for 2022. The first one being the Benchmade Mini Adamas. Fantastic, big, beefy handled knife. A lot of people kind of shitted on this knife, mainly because it looks really beefy, it looks girthy, but when it comes to doing like outdoor tasks, if you're gonna use this to make kindling, if you're gonna hit this with a log, it is not designed like that. Its big brother, the full-size Adamas, yes, it's ready for something like that. I really enjoy having something with this big hand. I did not know how important it was for me to have something with very large, wide scales, handles, until I got the Benchmade Mini Adamas. I found myself carrying this thing more often than I could imagine. Has great action out of the box, and it just feels really, really good. Now, another thing, of course, I am somewhat of a Benchmade sheep. I also found myself carrying the Benchmade Boost, which is a semi-assisted opening knife. Why did I carry this knife so much? Listen, I oftentimes say I don't like knives that have full serrated edges. Well, I do like some knives that have partial serration. When if you're going to be cutting some type of cordage, it doesn't need to be a clean cut. You don't want it slipping up the blade when you're using it. I grab this thing all the time. We just bought this hoarder house. I was oftentimes cutting cordage, cutting old stuff off the house, and I did not want my knife slipping as I went to make the cut. This was the knife that I would grab. And I love it. I love the fact that it's partially assisted when you're opening this thing up. Of course, that makes it a lot easier if you want to keep your hand on a workpiece, so you don't even have to worry about accidentally slipping or something like that with your thumb. And it's fantastic. This is the federal government edition, so it does come in this khaki and this like OD green colorway. Something that I did not realize how important it was just generally when it comes to my knives. Big, beefy scales. If I'm going to be carrying these things all day long, seems to be the reason why these things constantly made it back to my pocket throughout the year. Number 5 on my list. Listen, I got to keep it in the very traditional EDC realm. The Leatherman Free P4 found its way in my pocket so many times throughout this year. I love Leatherman overall, American-made company, great warranty. It's just a very nice tool, but the reason why the Free P4 kept making it into my pocket, the one-handed magnetic opening. You can keep your hand on a workpiece, bust this thing out, be able to safely use this item and to close this item with one hand. There are very few multi-tools when you can do a one-handed opening like that. That is why the Free P4 just kept making it to my pocket. It's very, very nice. Now, it does have a lot of other features in it as well that I really enjoy. First off, every single tool is accessible while the actual multi-tool is closed. So if I want to be able to get to its knife, I can get to it. Some of the slotted screwdriver or Phillips screwdrivers. Of course, one of my favorite things on a multi-tool is a pair of scissors. The multi-tool in general is a very essential tool for me throughout the year, but the P4 seemed to be the highest, followed very closely by the Gerber MP600 and the Leatherman Juice, but this one is on top. Next on my item is the pen. Not just any pen. I love pens that make me feel good, make me want to use the item. And that's when I come and I talk about two of my favorite pens throughout the year. First, we'll talk about the Tactile Turn Nebula, a fantastic bolt action pen. Comes in about $200, but it writes so well, lays down ink. I have a very explicit and laid out system that I use when it's time to actually use my EDC pen. I'll make sure I link that video up. If you're really wondering how do you use an EDC pen and notebook in your daily life, I got a few tips for you as well. But this thing, it writes well. And if you're going to be spending money on pens, make sure you actually use them. Speaking of using them, my second favorite has been the Bastion bolt action pen. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the fact that they put their logo right towards the top of their pens. Just not a big fan of that. But listen, this copper pen is already starting to develop some fantastic patina. It's looking really good, and I'm a big fan of it. The Bastion and the Tactile Turn found their way to my desk, to my EDC journals, whatever I had in my back pocket more often than any of my other pens. Super reliable, did not know how much I needed them until I don't have them with me. Next on my list, 4 super reliable, must-have EDC items for the year, a pair of sunglasses. Now, I have a ton of sunglasses. I have sunglasses in the truck, on my bag, on my person. Now, one of my favorite pair of sunglasses has to be the Ray-Bans. I think these are the Clubmaster. Super nice, super simple sunglasses. These are the turtle shell, and they're really slick looking. I like the fact that they're, you know, you can wear these things with basically anything, but I need to be able to protect my eyes. I'm oftentimes inside of my man cave, editing videos, going live, doing work from my day job, and then I go into the sun, and it's almost vampire mode. That's why it's essential that I have a pair of glasses with me. Next on my list has to be generally earbuds, but specifically the Google Pixel Buds Pro. Now, I do have the original Google Pixel Buds 2 that came out in 2020. Those are very nice, but I did have a lot of issues when it came to Bluetooth connectivity. I use these things every day. I absolutely do not like putting the phone directly up to my grape to take a phone call. I don't know if I'm lazy. I don't know if I want my hands to be free. They're fantastic. Great noise cancellation. They sound pretty good as well. And I mostly listen to talk radio and stuff like that. They get the job done for stuff like that, but I cannot go without a pair of earbuds. I cannot believe this became an essential EDC item for me this year, but this year, this item blossomed and became super important for my EDC kit. This is the Fujifilm X100V. Why is this important for my kid? I had a son that was born in late 2021. I also have a son who was born earlier in 2021. I have a couple other kids. I take pictures for thumbnails. I have found that the photos that I get out of this camera make me want to take pictures, make me want to take photos. This has grabbed the memories of my family the most, and I take pictures every single day with this camera. I love it. It gives me very vintage feel. I love my cell phone. It's always with me, but it does not compare to this camera and the photos that I get out of this thing. Now, next, we have to talk about hydration. I cannot believe how big of a water bottle snob I became in 2022, but it's easy to say because the way I drink water became super essential because I want to knock back as much as I can. And the one that stayed on top throughout the year are the Hydro Flasks. They keep my drinks super cold for a very long time. This is a big 40-ounce monster, which I oftentimes will bring with me if I'm gonna be riding my one wheel, if I'm gonna be gone for several hours. Look at the dings in this thing. I mean, huge drop taken on the top here. I don't know where I dropped it from, but scrapes all over the place. And this thing just keeps ticking. I still use it all the time. Because I beat it up so much, I did end up getting the same type of setup in the 24-ounce variant. This is in the orange, super nice. And I think I've dropped this thing too. Maybe it just survives a beating a little bit better because it gets the job done. I'm a big fan of Hydro Flask. Another reason I like Hydro Flask so much is because it works super well with the Heroclip. Now I can take the Hydro Flask, I can take it, hang it from the side of an item or something like that, and it works really well. So these items became almost kissing cousins, and I use them throughout the year. When it comes to quality and warranty, Hydro Flask seems to be which way I go throughout the year. So what's up, guys? Let me know, what are some of your not just essential EDC items, but most reliable items where you don't have them, you feel damn near naked? What are the items you use the most in 2022? Comment down below. Let me know some of those things. I would love to know about it. Listen, if you're not a part of the Battalion, push the subscribe button down below. We would love to have you a part of the Battalion. Think about joining the memberships as well during live streams. You get priority access, emotes. If this is not your first time stopping by, once again, thank you for stopping by. Watch me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.